So welcome everybody to today's interview in the frame of our CESI Talks series, which is part of the project which aims at sensitizing citizens and workers also for the importance and the failures also of the European Union, but also thinking at the upcoming European elections next year in 2024. Today I have the honor and joy again to welcome Lukas Mandl. Lukas is chair of the delegation for relations with the Korean Peninsula. He is vice chair of the Subcommittee on Security and Defense and member also of quite some committees, but the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Committee on Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs, and quite interesting also the Special Committee on Foreign Interference in all democratic processes in the European Union. Lukas, welcome.
Thanks for the invite.
Lukas, you will be participating also at our next European Defense Roundtable, and given your profile also, which I just mentioned, how do you see the war in Ukraine unfolding, and what will be the impacts on the European Union? I allow myself to quote you from one of your contributions on the occasion of the preparation of the EU-Ukraine summit, and you said the alignment and unity are unprecedented and will remain. Does this war strengthen the European Union, or will it rather weaken it?
Thanks, first of all, not only for the invite, but also for emphasizing that the European Defense Roundtable will take place again soon. I always have appreciated the European Defense Roundtable occasions because they were always substantial for the security and defense parliamentary endeavors here in the European Parliament on behalf of the Europeans. And I would say this war of aggression from Putin Russia, including even an intensified hybrid warfare against all of us, against the whole free world, against the European way of life, democracy, rule of law, all of this points out that we need more unity. It's still true that the unity is unprecedented we have today in Europe, and still we have to figure out the one or the other thing. But this is also something that comes along with democracy, and democracy is what we defend, and democracy is proven to be the system that provides most of welfare and opportunities and chances and freedom for each and everybody. And this is why we have to remain in contact with each other among parliamentarians representing the people, the citizens of the European Union, among the member states of the European Union, but also beyond EU borders with all European countries. And I guess the so-called European Political Community, EPC, is coming at the exactly right time in order to include not only the states, but also the people, the Europeans of these other states, which are not or not yet EU member states. So the gathering of the European Political Community on June 1st this year in the Republic of Moldova will be a clear signal for freedom.
Lukas, you know, we represent civilian and military personnel in the armed forces. Also, what does this general geopolitical instability context will mean for them? What do you think?
First of all, I have the impression that the citizens of Europe were already more aware of the security threats and of the obligation of the European Union level to meet these security threats before major part of the EU institutions were. Already long before Putin Russia has waged this war, European Union citizens demanded more activity from EU level, from EU side, also from their member states authorities, of course, in the field of security. After Putin Russia has waged this war, I would say major parts of all EU institutions are more aware of security threats and to go deeper into the security field. Why do I state that now regarding the question you have just raised? Because first of all, we have to see, and we also have to spread the message that I would say, public reputation of defense personnel, of military personnel, soldiers and civilians, of people who take care of our security, of people who take care of proper risk assessments, and of people who are even ready to put their lives at stake for others, for our security, the public reputation of those people, of the people you represent in a very, and have been representing for a long time in a very good way, has increased. First. Second, it was a year of beginnings. Since Putin Russia has waged this war, it was a year of beginnings. Member states began to increase their defense budgets. The European Union began to use the European Peace Facility in order to combat, for the first time in history, a real military aggression against all of us on European soil. It was a beginning when it comes to states like Sweden, like Finland, also like Ireland, discussing their status when it comes to security. In the case of Finland and Sweden, it will be NATO membership. The question, in my view, is only when this will happen. Denmark has joined the common security and defense policy of the European Union. Even the United Kingdom has joined the one PESCO project, the one on military mobility. So maybe also the increased public reputation of military personnel was also only a beginning. So it's on behalf of all of us to strengthen that, to make it sustain, that the reputation will remain high for military personnel, no matter whether soldiers or civilians, because we depend on them. We depend on them, our civilization, our freedom, what we understand as human dignity and want to defend and want to be effective on European soil and beyond, is depending on their efforts. And this is why the reputation of the people you actually represent is important for the common good for everybody.
Lukas, you mentioned it already. You referred to the request of Finland to become member of NATO. We have lots of discussions in Switzerland. You Austrian, you're coming from Austria. Austria is neutral. Is that still a concept which is up to date in our current situation after the Russian aggression against Ukraine?
Neutrality is what I call one important tool in our security toolbox. And this is what we have to use in times like this, when security is at stake, when risks are high, when war is waged on European soil, when even a hybrid war has been waged already before this military aggression. All of us have to use all tools in our security toolboxes, and Austria is in the position to have, among others, also the tool of neutrality in our toolbox. Secondly, the Austrian Prime Minister, Chancellor Karl Nehammer, has just last week stated in the Austrian Parliament, in the parliamentary debate, that Austria will have to reform its so-called security doctrine, because we have a very different situation than 10 years ago, when the recent security doctrine was worked out and decided on. So this is a field where we have to strengthen our efforts to draft a new security doctrine, which will meet not only the challenges of the present, but also the challenges of the future.
I remember on the occasion of the last European Defence Roundtable, you were also present, and I asked the participant what could be the conditions to start negotiating or to start peace talking. And the clear answer was, it's not up to us, it is up to the Ukrainians to let us know when. Is that opinion the same?
Actually, yes. We have something on the table which I can't emphasize enough. It's the so-called peace plan of President Zelensky. The Ukrainian president has presented to the world in fall already 2022 a 10-point plan for peace. And this is the reliable paper on the table all of us should rely on if we really want to achieve peace in a proper way, in a sustainable way, in a way that freedom will be protected and also freedom will sustain and prevail for the people in Ukraine and all of us. Then the paper we should refer to is the 10 points peace plan of President Zelensky, in my view.
Lukas, all the best. We will see each other on the occasion of the next EDRT. Many, many thanks. A lot of success also in the work you're having in this important committees and subcommittees. They're of utmost relevance, I think, in these troubled times. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your interest, Klaus. Best regards from the premises of the European Parliament here in Brussels. Take care.